It's a beautiful day for a beautiful day here at Sit In It, the podcast with myself, Tracy A. Martin. Today, I'm going to be answering a bunch of questions that a bunch of you have sent in to support at Living Whole on Purpose. And I wanted .com, sorry. And so what I would like to start with is to get right down into the goods of so much. So many of you have either texted me or put into my email support at livingwholeonpurpose.com the conundrum you're feeling, many of you that are in your awakening journey, who are feeling those bouts of anger, of anguish, of despair, of this, oh my God, there's got to be something else. And you're not alone. I want you to know you're so not alone. Everybody, every living thing that has a soul, a sentient body, is feeling this purge. This purge is mental, it's emotional, it's physical, and it's very spiritual because you have been trapped in distorted, false light programs. We have Marty with us here today. He's playing with his little squirrel. Sorry if you hear any kind of squeaks going on. He loves being here centered in, Sit In It. And so most of you that have been getting a hold of me, it's just like, there's got to be more than this. I'm just so over it. I'm so done. And I want to say that is a massive breakthrough because it's showing you you are no longer interested in the 3D false light illusion, that limited reality that had you in these catacombs of total enslavement. And the fact that you've been there, you've done that, you've got the t-shirt, you no longer want any of this anymore. That's a massive breakthrough. So number one, congratulations. We've all felt it, are feeling it, are rolling through it, because guess what? In the brand new earth, it hasn't been created. You haven't experienced it yet. There are 5D planes, but not you and the collective of you that are holding and tuning in with your human embodiment while going through this. So the first question, other than all of these, oh my God, what's going on here, actually is from, there's 3 readers here, and one is Tina, one is Darwin, and one is Anna Klein. And so all of them had the same similar question asking, could you please tell me the difference between 5G radiation, 6G radiation, or damaging radiation, and our ascension symptoms? Why do they seem to be so similar? And so this is huge in the fact that many of you go to the place of, because you're using discernment, but you're going to discernment with your mental mind, which is baiting you into despair, into anger, into war, because that is what the mental plane had been doing for a very, very long time. But the moment you feel from your heart, you know it's different. You know there's a rising inside of you, but you're so used to being in that mental projection without mental clarity that you're overthinking and you're running around like a freaking rabbit running after its treasure, or a hamster on a wheel, because that is what the NAA or the dark ones have been doing, is baiting you into creating what you do not want. We know that in the 3D world, they created a world or a plane, which is a very low plane, which was of what they call duality. And we know in any other plane risen above from that, there is no duality. There is no right and wrong. There is no white and black. It just is. And so here on this plane, they know, as the amount of sun energies that have been coming in full of our 5G and higher radiation or radiant light, they are trying to pull you down with 5G. That's why you can tell as they are telling you what's actually happening and what they're trying to do, because the exact same force on both sides has to happen. So do we see more dark as we feel more light? Absolutely. And all it is what's been hidden from the truth. Truth isn't good. It isn't bad. It just is. And as you're awakening, there's a lot of truths you wish you didn't know. And I'm here to tell you, and I'm holding your hand because I'm loving you home. And we know that there's so many out there that don't want to see what's really going on. Why are they trying to hide the sun from you so much, or the suns from you so much? Why is there so much cloud cover? Why is there so much goodness the moment you're outside and you just allow that sun to touch you in your body? Closing your eyes, arms wide open, you ground so instantaneously because you're being loved up on so many beautiful frequency levels. And so the same symptoms you're going to experience from radiation, both good radiation, both what you've termed bad radiation, are the same. So they are flu-like symptoms. There are pains. There are ringing in the ears. There are severe high dehydration, headaches, nausea, overwhelm, because your gut is imbalanced as well. And those mental thoughts are coming through. Radiation burn you feel in the lungs, the scored linings of the lungs. We know for a fact that the whole COVID BS that went on, and the reason they killed so many people in the hospital, is because when radiation from the 5G towers, especially when they would play within different cities, towns, whatever, and it would suddenly accumulate in all these areas, is because they can vamp them up all the way higher than 6G or not. And that's why you would see tons of dead animals around those towers, of birds and people around in that area getting severe cancers, all that, because that radiation is severe, low, harmful radiation. And the first thing it did is it spores inside the lung lining. The worst thing they did was they put people into intubation and they blew them up because that was a burn. It was burn going on inside of them. Many of you on this awakening journey that have looked into it have seen what happened, especially in China, why they suddenly put up these makeshift supposed hospitals, but they were actually death traps trying to hide these bodies, because and when they put them in these sudden hospitals everywhere, because of the severe radiation from the Hawaii, where they did the great tests section on tons of you beautiful people from the Asian descent, that they put them in these rooms with a door, with a lock on the outside, because they knew they had severe radiation and there was nothing they could do for them. The greatest things that you could find through the discovery of it was the fact that there was over 1 million cell phone users that suddenly weren't using their phones anymore. So the more you go on the awakening, the rabbit hole that you go into, the more angry and disgusted you are, because when I tell you, you have no idea how evil is, you're starting to get it. And it's been happening a long time. And now it's so in your place, because we are purging, and the more light that we have on this plane, nothing can hide. And that's physically what you're feeling going on with those ascension symptoms. And they're going to be different for each person, depending on where you're vibing in, how healthy your physical body is, how healthy your emotional body is, your mental body, and your spiritual body. And then you'll know if some are a spiritual ascension symptom that come out physical, but there's nothing physical you can do for it. And so these are the things that have been going on for quite some time. And I want you to understand you're not alone. I've had some people that had said to me, does being in these ascension symptoms mean that I'm vibing low? And I'm going to tell you again, it has nothing to do with that. Your physical body, that's a carbon-based body, that's moving into a crystal body that has never been done ever on any plane in any recordings is having a hard time calibrating and recalibrating. Why wouldn't you give yourself that credit? Why would you believe, oh, I must be? And that's that mental place that tries to bait you into believing that you're not as powerful as you are. Whether you're awake or not, this is going to happen. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, these symptoms are happening. And you're going to continually look outside of yourself for answers because you believe there has to be some kind of symptom or dis-ease or cure for it. One of the greatest things from many of the people that I've talked to that are experiencing these symptoms is absolutely your sea salt, your whole sea salt intake. No iodized salt, no pink Himalayan salt, because that has been shown that it's no different than table salt because of where it's coming from. It's not where you think it comes from. So Celtic salt is one of the highest forms, and I take a pinch of it first thing in the morning. Always let it melt in your mouth and then drink water, because then it pushes it and actually delivers that into your cell so that that hydration can happen. Many of you have decided, because you're vibing into a more harmonious place and you're getting rid of all those lies that they've been trying to tell you need to be doing in order to ascend. I actually want to really speak here on all these supposed enlightened people that tell you there's this book that you need to read on how to ascend, and that you have to be doing this, 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 and this, or it's not going to happen. And I'm going to tell you, laugh out loud, laugh at yourself to believe some other human that has still in his human clothes is going to tell you how to do it. So unless he ascends and comes back into his clothes and ascends again, so then he can tell you what he did to do it, why would you not just understand it as a story someone else has decided? And that's usually from the egoic mind. We are part of the all that we are, of all of consciousness, of all life. A plant and all different plant life look completely different. They have their own footprint. You have your own look, identity, frequency, footprint. Every baby, every child, every animal. So why would you think that they all have a certain way that they have to do things in order to do something? This is another way of creating a cult-like mindset where they need followers. You need to follow and lead yourself. Your heart, when you go inside and you feel your way back into all that you are, by whatever means you believe at the time that you're ready for, it's always on purpose. So the reason that sea salt is so important is because we are the salt of life. And every salt crystal is crystalline. It's a crystal, and it helps to awaken and activate on a cellular level that you already are, the God particle in you, that crystalline. And so one of the first things that radiation does, and I'm going to have you let go of what radiation is, of good or bad. Just know that radiation has these rays. The first thing it pulls from you is your mineral content. Almost every dis-ease known that many amazing real doctors, scientists who haven't been indoctrinated and paid to play down a different place, they know that almost every dis-ease is because of the body going into disharmony, because it doesn't have its proper mineral intake. How in the mainstream media is how they try to make it so that copper and boron and many of these hidden elements are so very important. The whole trace mineral side spectrum is important. And so many of us who have gone down that rabbit hole to discover more is because your heart's leading you, not, and some people it's by their mind and they go to the objective side or the defensive saying, oh, I don't believe that, I don't know that, because it's just cognitive dissonance. That's all it is. Something new that when you have more of an open mind, you sit back and observe and you allow what's being said and you feel it. How does it feel? Not your gut. Again, your gut instinct is one of the biggest liars it has, because your gut is not in perfect running order because of the modified foods out there, the disgusting putrid waters, all of these things. So if you don't have perfect biome, it can't send proper messages to the brain to say this is what's going on. So part of that is the lies that they played of saying what you have to do in order to ascend. As a hypnotherapist practitioner, I have had the beautiful experience of being able to love so many people that are here in my chair. And there's one thing that started to truly show itself, very much so, was people who had the most disruption within their mental cognitiveness had everything to do with their diet or your lifestyle habits. And number one was people becoming vegan. And if you want to talk to some real vegans who were vegans a long time and watched their health deteriorate, high anxiousness, high nervous, paranoia, overwhelm, because they've been playing on the other end of the same bird, which was the false spiritual realm that was going on, this new age spiritual realm, which is still controlled by the religion side of things, that was keeping you still outside of yourself instead of inside. I've been so fortunate because of being able to be a channel and being in contact with love consciousness so much, of how we know that if you are not grounded, and if you want to talk on a spiritual side of things, that the 7 base chakras that we'll speak about, the importance, number 1 is the first chakra. And that's about being grounded, stable, and solid in that system that you are in. That's where integrity, that's where honor and devotion all come in that stability place. And there's many of you who've spoken or talked with or met people who believe they're very highly spiritual beings, but they're severely ungrounded and they have severe mental distortion, and they believe that they need to be vegan because they've been told that animals it's cruelty to kill an animal. And yet you have no problem killing all plant life. I'm going to let you sit in that for a while. When I first started hearing through my clairaudience, it was other plants that were talking to me. They are sentient beings. They are alive. They're a part of all that is. How many of you don't think twice of where you got your vegetables from or fruits and have no issue? And they try to make you believe that the worst thing you could do is harm another animal. Inside the embodiment of what you are right now, in this embodiment, I want you to understand, and I'm not the only other beauteous being here that has these words of intellectual light that have come through. In order to replenish a cell within your embodiment, you need a animal fat or a true sat fat, and you need an animal meat protein. Why? Because it is life itself. Many of you don't want to hear that. And I'm here to tell you 100% of every one of my clients that started going back to a animal protein diet, animal products, all of that completely turned their mental disruption around. Completely. Some have gone to the very farthest set of it, where they went into the carnivore lifestyle, where it's all meat and animal product and all of that. And anyone who has done it properly have had, oh my God, the most amazing results happen. A few of my clients that were strictly carnivore, who not only started to burn fat for the first time, the amount of energy, the cognitive dissonance that leaves because you have that mental clarity, that stability that is able to take you back to the observer that you are, that emotional intelligence, instead of being caught up and trapped in the feeling, instead of just seeing it, observing it, and allowing it to pass. My husband and I, we are on what's called the ancestors lifestyle, and we have been since March of last year. But we'd realized we naturally were starting to move to it, because the more you start vibing into the wholeness of all you are, instead of just trying to attain the spiritual place, it's all this embodiment of all that you are. The hardest thing for me was knowing, like the first 3 months for myself, because I was so used to carb burning, because I believed that vegetables were so important. And until I'd started really going and diving deep into, and PubMed is one of the greatest places where they have complete papers on this research that's been done, along with many doctors that left the doctor kingdoms of the indoctrinated to realize, oh my God, there's more to this. And having blood work done will say it all. When you realize that vegetables are highly, highly oxidative, which causes aging, which causes stress on the body, compared to a fruit. We eat animal and animal product, mostly all red meat, and rudiment, because they have more than one stomach. So what's so great with the amount of their digestion process is a lot of what we would normally get from the outside, they're able to process way better for us. And when you eat that, it's unbelievable how I watch the change even in my husband, how he can handle way more of what normally would have been stress for him before. I know myself, it's the same. The groundedness, the stability, the nourishment you feel off of it, hardly ever being thirsty. I'm still drinking, having my salt with my water, but I used to drink so much water, even when I had salt before, because it was depleting the body continually. We also eat fruit within our lifestyle, because when you understand, when you look, and everyone believes that our body is made up of water, but it's what formulation of water or liquid it is. Actually H3O2, not H2O. And guess what is in fruit? H3O2. And why were people putting fruit into water, and they would have this electrolyte happen for the body? Because it's the same thing that we are well with. And the whole deception of what fruit is and what a vegetable is, everyone believes that fruit are sweet, and that's part of the lie. So when you understand that anything with a seed in it is a fruit, then you'll realize you probably weren't really vegetable gardening, you were fruit gardening. And we do 2/3 animal product and 1/3 fruit, so that we keep our hydration, our electrolyte value up, but that we get all the proper nutrients out of whole, real foods. The greatest thing, and saying that has been said to me, that they kept saying to me over and over and over again: plants are medicine, animals are food. And when you look in, let's have you sit in this, and we look in the animal kingdom alone, and you look at a carnivore animal, and you see their sleek, strong body, and then you look at grass eaters, and what does their body look like? So many people out there have been starving themselves. All they do is eat salads, and they have to take tons of supplements and vitamins. And again, Big Pharma is the same companies owning the drug manufacturers and the supplement and vitamin industries. Go down that rabbit hole, I'm not lying to you. When we are on the lifestyle we are on, the only thing that we stay in our NRF2 activation because it helps awaken every cell in our body because of all the damage going on outside. But when we moved to this lifestyle, the first thing that happened for me is I was tired at first. And it took my body time to go from carb burning to fat burning. And then bam, when it kicked in, I have more energy, and I naturally have a lot of energy. But this is such a maintained, even deeper level of energy that I have because of it. And my husband, I noticed right away, is in a man's body, they'll instantly kick in so much quicker. And he lost like 20 pounds, and it was so fast. But then you go to this place of where when that fat burning starts happening, all that extra water retention and the toxins that we're storing in your body, you suddenly feel like you're old when you look at your skin at first, because it starts to sag a bit at first because of the fat burning that's happening. And the muscle that you start to be able to hold on to instead of the atrophy that was happening was another thing that happened for me. I have clients who it didn't matter if they had the beginning of prostate stuff going on, abnormal cells that they were told, going to different doctors, having blood work done, hormone levels, you name it. It was unbelievable what happened when they had their blood work done to see what had changed in their life so quickly, just from lifestyle change. Mindset is probably the biggest part of all of this, because that is where they have trapped you in this mental plane. And many of you have been kept in the place of sabotage, poverty, victimhood, just to name a few. And most of you understand it because you know that so many of you that are such amazing souls out there, you procrastinate because of your fear of either failure or success. And so you'll just keep it where it is, and you'll be the first one to complain. You'll say, oh my God, it's Groundhog Day every day. And I'll say to you, that's all your own mental trap. That is a broken mind trap. Every brand new moment you breathe, you're here. If you stopped breathing, you wouldn't be here anymore. Your mental set of mind is the most important part about this whole awakening process, because that is where they're able to bait you into, when you look outside of yourself, of what you believe you need next. And they use your emotions on it through that, your five senses, where it smells good, looks good, feels good, touches. And when we move into the heart for discernment, so that we can be guided by our heart through observation, now we start having that open mindset to be able to see with eyes you weren't allowed to see before. The next question coming up came after I did the interview with DJ last week. And thank you again, DJ, if you're listening. And these couple questions that came in that were of the same, they were wanting to know, what is my view set on drinking, doing drugs, or any form of alterative mind or body? What is your thoughts on this, especially with the talk you had with DJ around mushrooms? So everyone has their own space that they're in. Anyone who has met me, I will tell you over and over and over again, that escapism is the true addiction. Escaping from yourself, believing you need something or to take something or need to do something in order to find yourself. Is that not absolutely ridiculous? That something else is going to get you to you? That's mental mindset. That being said, you can't get to here when you're here. So the more that you are awakening and realizing that big pharma has taken derivatives of what we know a whole plant medicine to be, so that they could play with other things to be able to give it a name so they could patent it to make money off of it. And then you see why alcohol stayed as a primary through all of COVID, so that they could keep you asleep in escapism. And in some places like where we are here in Canada, they made it legal to be able to have marijuana shops, cannabis shops. And I'm here to tell you that where you're ordering that from, they have genetically modified it to make you stupid. So when we tell you that you're going to all those shops, where they've come from, they have been genetically modifying it. Anyone who has been a cannabis user that either is making it themselves or getting it from their trusted dealer that they would talk with, they knew the difference the moment they went to these shops and tried it, because they knew something was altered in it. Why did the government make it so that you could have that as well? Oh, because they have the best interest for you, don't they? Right. All of you are laughing. I hopefully know that. And so it's just to keep you asleep again. Keep you in escapism, keep you from yourself. This has been the whole part of this whole journey that you have been on, lifetime after lifetime, because the more that they can keep you from the wholeness of all that you are, the more money they make off of you, the more loose energy they feast off of you. Are you getting it now? So if you're in that big pharma part where you believe you need all this medication, instead of knowing that whole herb is way more powerful and absolutely knows how to pull back to the root cause of where it's coming from, and it's understanding whole health. And I know a lot of you are going to get your panties in a knot, because a lot of you have been indoctrinated. Oh, I took a nutritionist course and what you're talking about is hokum. And it's like, really? And who taught that to you? And did you go and do any research on it and read the papers as to why many of us have changed our lifestyle and have fantastic health, fantastic spot on health? Why are those indoctrinated having such a trigger warning? Because they only know what they know. We only know what we know. And the more that we open our mind and see that everything they have taught you is a lie, everything, the more that you go in and realize that up is down, down is up, inside out, outside in, you realize I know nothing. But as it starts showing itself, I know what truth is, because of the action in it, of sitting in it, feeling the tangibility in it, and seeing for myself the difference. The next thing that we talk about with this then is if we still feel that we're not strong enough by ourselves. That is why there's so many people of service to others out there that have triumphed through it, that are that talking piece that holds space for you, so that they just hear you and nudge you forward into doing something about it. So that question on what are my views is, if you believe you need to get high or have to have some kind of altered place to be, if it's yours that you want to experience, it's yours. I'm never going to give you permission to do anything, because I've never needed to give you permission. But through all my breakthroughs, the easiest, greatest way was just going in, and sitting in it and loving myself so wholly, remembering the master that I am. It's really simple. Love is simple. The mental broken mind traps want you to believe it's harder. And you don't want to do the work. You want a magic pill. You don't want to have to put the time in, the blood, sweat, and tears. The New Age spiritual movement tries to tell you, again, you've heard me talk about this many times, where, oh, you have to go through the dark night of the soul. Right. Why are they saying that to you? Because they're trying to keep you from it. They're trying to make you think it's this hard, horrible thing that's ever happened in your life. The greatest thing I've ever done in my life is love every piece and part of me. Everything that I knew was hidden, that went, the more I started going in, the more I started hearing my body talk, or my mental mindset talk, or my emotional feeling centers that felt unstable to talk. Why wouldn't I want to hear myself? Why wouldn't I want to love up all the pieces and parts of me? This is part of the purge, the great purge that's happening. And it's a beautiful sight to see. And when I hear people saying, I'm unable to show up because I'm going through my own stuff right now through the purge, beautiful. Congratulations, you're being honest. Honesty is such a freedom feeling. You're the only one that has your own self in the way. It's always going to be you. Always going to be you. And so I myself do not do anything. I don't drink. I don't do any form of drug, narcotic, anything that takes me away from who I am, because it's all inside. And I'm so grateful that I allowed myself to trust myself, to trust and be able to be that vessel of that each and every one of us are. We're just a satellite dish, giving and receiving information all the time. The more you go inside and sit in it, the more that you have like-minded people to reach out and talk to. That's the reason I'm bringing people on to this podcast, is so that people who think they're everyday people having their everyday life you're showing you're not alone. There's many people out there, and there's so many beautiful souls that are all, oh my God, we're rooting for everyone to make their way back home, to themselves, to the universe that you are. So I'm never going to judge anyone and where they are, because they're where they are because of who they are and what they chose. I myself know, when I look in energy fields, I know that absolutely everyone, and it doesn't matter how much trauma they've decided they want to live in and believe that their lifestyle is, so they can stay the victim. Everyone, when I look in their wholeness of all that they are, every real true sentient being is whole, perfect, and complete. And their mindset is just broken. That's all it is. They've chosen broken because they believe it. How many people instantaneously heal? Because the moment they know they're whole, it's a game changer, massive game changer. So whatever you believe you have to do, whatever you are guided to do, there's because of you. It's because of you and where you are right now, where it's going to take you to that next set. We know there's many, many courses you could go on. Go in the observation, let your heart lead you the way, instead of mentally playing over and over and over again so that you do nothing at all. It's the greatest style tactic ever, is the place of trying. Because again, I'll tell you, trying's a lie. You're doing it or you are not doing it. And you are either love or you are pretending. And so there is no one that's higher up on the pecking order here. In this awakening, it is a personal enjoyment and experience to get back to who you are. You want to be a seeker, you'll be seeking always, because you've decided the belief set of who you are is to seek. Seekers don't ever find it. Finders find it. Creators create it. And so the next set of questions that came in that match up very much so with what we're talking about today through this whole ascension process, through the fact that many of you are moving from 3D into more of the 5D world of who you are on purpose and why you were guided and magnetically pulled electrically as well to all these whole, going back to the wholeness of whole, pure, intense. Tracy, I know that within these podcast interviews, you've asked several on what it's like for them the moment that they show up 5D in this 3D world. I'm still having problems or conundrums trying to understand, is it two different realities I'm playing in? It's exactly what that is, and it's set of mind. So I could be a hypnotherapist and I could be living in this 3D plane, and how I show up is specifically whether you are moving into the new world, the new consciousness or not. And it's plain and simple. All it is love. You are either love or you are not. In the 3D constructs, they are limited. And that's why many of you feel like you're feeling claustrophobic at this time. And when I look in the energy of the consciousness, it is this volcano waiting to erupt. And it's because you're done with limited thought, with that feeling of entrapment. And that's why when you show up and are creating the heaven that you are on purpose, it doesn't matter where you are. Are you centered and quiet in a room where there's anger and outbursts coming out? And because you just stay centered in love and in holding space, watch how fast it starts to diffuse. Did you know that each and every one of you are transmuters? You are light bringers, light holders. You are here to transform. You are creators. And many of you are feeling very frustrated. What am I? What star family am I? What soul family? Who are they? And who are you doing? I get inundated so much by many of you that are texting me all the time. Tracy, can you go and do this? Can you tell me this? No. How about you go in and you ask your highest self that? Or if you believe in abundance and prosperity and honor and integrity, book an appointment. Book a session with someone that you are knowing has some wisdom or guidance for you. Because it's not up to them to hold your hand. It's not up to us to have to carry you everywhere. For me to have to stop what I'm doing in my day just to go in to access things for you. What is love? Love is integrity. Love is honor. Love is respect. Love is kindness and compassion. Love is knowing I am love. Many are trapped in this mental plane of poverty mind. I see so many people that believe that they are these spiritual assets, and they are busy putting down everyone who's entitled to be the kings and queens, creating their kingdoms and queendoms. Jealousy and envy are toxic. It is not love. When we see someone leading, they lead by example. They are creating their world. True leaders don't want to cause any harm on another. They do not want to care what's going on in your world. They're busy watching what they're doing. They're accountable, they're responsible, because that's what love is. They have integrity, they have drive, they have the beingness in them. And that is so honorable. You are honorable. I'll always honor you, love you, and be so grateful for each and every encounter, every connection I've ever had on every level, because it's a phenomenal experience in itself. It's a true miracle having another beauteous person to suddenly connect with me on some level for whatever reason it is, even if it's just a hi or a stare. That is love. It is acknowledgement of, hey, hi, I notice you. We all want to feel loved, safe, and secure. Our idea of love is what's happening through this whole purge. Again, this is all about your broken mind traps and your limitations of what love is, of what you are, what you will allow, what you only know that you know. And that's why so many relationships are falling into the breakthrough or break free, because that what worked for you at one time, the more you awaken and your heart becomes more vast and is emanating, it only knows to be even more of that to itself. And it wants to be able to experience that emanation in the giving and receiving level that it is. And so the next set of questions, and there was probably 5 of you, one of them with the initials TT, a lady named Amanda, a man named James, a man named Scott, and a man named Corey. These questions coming in are, it feels like my whole world on every level is falling apart. Is divorce a part of this? How do I say goodbye to someone I love when they've done nothing wrong? We just aren't in the same place anymore. Why does it seem so hard? I don't want to hurt anyone. Isn't love not wanting to hurt anyone? Is this going to create more karma? Can you guide me in some words to sit in of what the easiest way to let go of someone or surrender to what is divinely supposed to be my purpose? These are real. This is real. This is going on for everyone. And your relationship to yourself, your relationship to your children, your animals, your lover or your husband or wife, your parents, your siblings, your friends, your employees, employers, your relationship to the nature that you are, your relationship towards your beliefs, your thought process. This is the purge, and it has to do with what love is and what love is not to you. My idea of love is completely different than most others, but we'll have people that are ebbing in similar ideals where they are now. And that's why the hardest part is knowing, and one of the greatest things Love Consciousness sat me in, as they're coming through this Sunday in the salon, for some of you that are out there that know what the salon is, which is, they've termed it the meeting of the infinite intelligence, sitting and absorbing. And Love Consciousness has channeled through me for I don't know how many years now. It's the most loving experience I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm honored that I'm able to be there and remember what comes through. And they usually sit me and stuff a month or two before they come through, because most people in channel are limited by their idea of open mind and beliefs. And so they will sit me and bring the runners through all the triggers for me to sit in and ponder, so that I can break through them, so that I become a more open channel for what they're going to have coming through. Because we know everything we're taught is a lie and is limited. And so the grace that I've gotten to feel peace and ease when they are in the teach, learn, teach process with me, and I have my little temper tantrums with them because I'm in cognitive dissonance, and more of the lies that I look upon and realize, oh my God, I've been lying to myself about this or all these things. It's a beautiful process in itself, in sitting in it and just feeling your way through it and breaking through all these old ideas. And it's all about love. It's just love, plain and simple. And that's been their message the whole time. So when we understand how limited we've become in it, by opening your mind and observing, you become the master again. And this is what they've been telling us for a very, very long time, that we need to get back to what love is. And so in these relationships, I've been able to go in when people have had life guide intuitive sessions with me and all that. And so all of the messages coming through for them and what I read within their bandwidths, of which go into the fourth band now, is so beautiful. And some they will allow me to speak, and some they will not allow me to speak, because of your level of perception of whether you will sabotage it or not, or you're ready for it. And where they'll actually literally take my voice away so that I'm not allowed to speak, which I'm so grateful for. And there is no right way other than through your heart. So if I were to have to say goodbye to someone, I don't believe it's a goodbye. It is just till next time, or next life, or till we're supposed to meet again. And the greatest words that they have shown me is, you don't fall out of love. And so they showed me instantly with my first husband, the moment that I was finished with the experience was because I loved him, but I loved me more. And I knew I was worthy of better, because my idea of what he was bringing to me was an old false idea of what love is and what love is not. And that's what plays out in your subconscious mind. It is literal. It doesn't know the difference between right or wrong, good or bad. It just knows repetition. And so when they sat me in the fact that you do not fall out of love, your idea of love changes, or you realize what their idea of love is. And that's all it is. So to have that conversation, it's knowing that we're allowed to grow in our separate ways. We're allowed to keep growing. We're here to attain more and more of the experience of what we want. And so that karma part of it, and that's one of the greatest things that we've seen, and they have told us as well, that the lords of karma that came in to create this karmic plane, we were here in this lifetime to finally break through that all. And that's why part of the purge is happening for us, to forgive ourselves and to forgive all others for every timeline of what we have done and haven't done that created some form of distortion or fractaled energy. And so the moment that we go through that, we have freedom. And so many of you that I've talked with, that we've had some of the most great discussions in the chair with each other, of knowing how far down you've gone. And you're like, I love her and I don't want to hurt her. But I know my idea of love and hers are not the same anymore. And that's exactly what it is. But how do you say goodbye? Well, do you have to say goodbye? Or do you sit down and have a true conversation with communication? Because most of you have stopped communicating because you're so zombified by your phones and you're so busy needing to keep yourself busy so that you don't have to address what's really going on, the elephant in the room. Instead of, you know what, I love you, but I know I'll always love you even when I leave you. Well, what does that mean? Well, then let's have a discussion. Any of you who are saying goodbye that you think you're going to, and you know, it's a grieving process that you go through. And you've been grieving your whole life and you're good at it because every brand new day is a brand new beginning. And that person that you see is completely different than they were the day before. It could be something else they're wearing, and it could be a different conversation you're having. It is brand new and it is present here and now. And it is never going to show itself again. It can never repeat exactly the way it was. It never will. So to be more in the present of what's going on, to know that you're both loving each other home. It doesn't mean it's the same home. It just means, hey, I love you and I can no longer be this for you because I'm needing to be this for me in order to be this for others. If I'm not receiving that love because no one's willing to give it to me, then who's the only one that can change that? That's you. The only person that can change that is you. And the false broken mind traps have you believing you have to hate an ex to get over them. And that's ego. That is just broken mind. They did this to me. Nope. They did it because of you, because of what you were or what you were not. Many of you are having to sit in the fact that, and it's not until someone has had enough that they realize, oh God, I'm losing them. Good. You deserve to lose them because we know that what we see as a loss sometimes is a grand breakthrough moment. And when we interviewed Mark and how him and his wife, Dawn, both lost her mom. And that's when she knew that that helped with her awakening because she was indoctrinated in the broken mind traps that many of you are that believe that your mom and your dads know nothing. They've tried to completely distort the knowledge that elders have. One of the greatest things that I've had the experience of experiences is going and speaking with people who are centennials that are, you know, close to or over 100 years old. And they've been through how many different decades. And you look at them as these older people that are weak and that have nothing to offer anymore, because that is what the mainstream has tried to have you believe in. And you throw them in homes and you barely even go see them anymore. You have beautiful, beautiful people in your life that have, whether they're 3 years old, that have more knowledge than when you've been allowing in. And they have these great teach, learn, teach moments with you, as they do with these beautiful souls who have been on this plane a long time and they've seen a lot of shit, and they've seen a lot of glory, and they've seen in between the lines. And that's what's so great when you speak with elders that have this amazingness to offer. And it's the simplest things, because it's always love simply is. I remember asking a lady one time what her secret was that she believed of why she was, you know, 101 years old. And she ate a cup of sugar every Sunday, a cup. I didn't want to know how she ate it because it made my teeth hurt. but because she lived through what they imposed in our, and many people who are awakening know now that every form of poverty, time, crash, everything they did on purpose. And to watch someone go through the rationing that happening to pull them from not being allowed to have, and in that place of true survival, she was going to make sure she could always have sugar. And so she would eat a cup of sugar every Sunday. And it was like, oh my God, how does she not have cancer? All these things. Because we know dis-ease comes from different forms, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Mindset is the superpower, especially with the emotion that matches that mindset. And not once did she ever think she was going to get cancer from sugar. She was honoring a part of her that she was never going to allow someone to take from her again. And that's integrity, that's her honor, and that's her story. And that's what made it so beautiful. And part of this whole grand, great awakening is the fact that we are here on purpose. We're here to be on purpose, right here, right now. I want you to allow yourself to love you, to allow the love of your life, that is you, to guide you to the greatest, most amazing experiences. I want you to allow yourself to be loved. I want you to allow yourself to be abundant. Allow yourself to be prosperous. Allow yourself to be happy. Allow yourself to feel peaceful and feel that ease, that grace, that centeredness, that stability. Allow yourself. That's all you've ever had to do. All love is allowing. The broken mind wants you to believe you have to surrender something, that you have to give something up. How can you give something up that was never yours? That's one thing I would love you to sit in this week and ponder. So if I had a feeling of anger, is it mine to own? Or did all I ever have to do was allow it to flow and then allow the next amazing experience and feeling? I love you all, and I thank you and I honor you all, and I want you to remember how amazing you are. You are here on purpose. You are being looked at and adored and supported in so many ways. Go inside, talk to your team, allow your heart to just cocoon you and love you, because it's all about love. That's all there really is. Everything else is an illusion. So thank you for watching and listening. And I will see you next week here at Sit In It. I love you.